Yeah, born and bred in Menenberg. Had a lekker childhood there. I mean, really, unlike what the name means to a lot of people now, I proudly come from Menenberg. Oh, my wife I met in church. If you are, if you go to church, yeah, whatever you do in church, look around. There's a good wife for you. Over 100 kids has come through here and gone into foster, either with extended family, but the majority of them has gone with new families. So not only has these babies found new homes, but they have made other people also happy. Your social media must be relevant. You will not see any post of mine where I'm saying this guy is a X or a Y or a Z. I don't have time for that.
So in this interview with Dion Fabe, we chatted about Hannah's place, his family, tourism, how he got into tourism, how he met his wife, and also he shares some tips on social media and how tour guides can use social media to get more work. And obviously a lot of kids has come through his hands, and Dion shares with us tips for new parents who are struggling. And so I hope you enjoy this episode, and if you like it, please leave a comment below, share the video with your friends. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the Everyday Cape Town Entrepreneurs podcast, and my guest today is a very special dude. This Buddha is a father to many kids. He's technically a savvy businessman, and he knows how to vibe on social media. Also, he's a very well-known tour guide in Cape Town, and he obviously, if you follow him, he teaches the foreigners the basic words like lekker and kak lekker and so on. Yeah, so welcome. I'd like everyone to welcome my guest, Mr. Dion Fabe. Welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna put you on the spot quickly for 30 seconds. For people that don't know you, people's meeting you for the first time. In 30 seconds, can you tell us bit about your life story in 30 seconds?
In 30 seconds, I'm a 59-year-old young person, a tourist guide nationally throughout South Africa and across borders. I also, together with my wife, run a project called Hannah's Place of Safety, where we take care of babies that's abandoned, and then we keep them for 3 to 6 months. We fix them up, we get them better before they go into foster or adoption. So that's pretty much just under 30 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned Hannah and your wife. I mean, that's how I got to meet you. The first time I did a story on your wife. Yeah, and I did a video story, and that video went viral. I mean, like, I posted that video and just got thousands of views. I'm not sure exactly, over 50 to 100,000 views that video got. And I mean, at the time, that Facebook page that I was looking after had less than 1,000 followers, and the views just went, crazy. And I mean, yeah, and that's how I met you. So, and I mean, I just want to get to know you a bit better. If you could take me back to your childhood, where did you grow up? What high school did you go to? What sports did you play?
So, grew up in Menenberg, in Aletta Court, Menenberg, neighbors to the, the Hard Livings and all of those gangs. Gangsterism around me was not a problem for me as a child because gangsters saw to themselves. We grew up playing with one another and still could move around. So growing up in Menenberg was very much a good place to grow up, unlike what people talk about it now. Menenberg was my stomping ground of making lots of friends. Went to the junior school or primary school, Edendale. There I couldn't speak Afrikaans. They called my parents in. They had to move me to Red River Primary School. I did sub A and sub B. After that, the new school opened up in Primrose Park. I ended up there and did standard 1 to standard 5, and then moved to Menenberg. What a great school. Lots of good, awesome memories that I have from Menenberg. And then went to finish school at Woodlands Senior Secondary in Mitchell's Plain when we moved to Mitchell's Plain.
Ah, lekker. Okay, so you were born and bred in Menenberg.
Yeah, born and bred in Menenberg. Had a lekker childhood there. I mean, really, unlike what the name means to a lot of people now, I proudly come from Menenberg.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have family in Manenberg also, so I'm also regularly there. And as a kid myself, I grew up playing soccer there in the fields. And
Yeah.
for me, a childhood dream was to become a professional soccer player. What was your childhood dream? And growing up in Manenberg, what was your way out?
My childhood dream was always to become somebody that could travel, and that was honestly what I wanted to do. Never knew what it was until I, got into my working career. Eventually, ended up at a company called Ferris Instrumentation. Later became known as Romberg and Control Instruments. And there I traveled, so traveled abroad to the US, to Italy, and yeah, I made lots of friends abroad, lots of friends that I made over there, then came over here. And with that, of course, a big friendship started. Today in tourism, I actually have lots of friends outside of, my working career prior to tourism. Now making friends every day. Okay, for the past 2 years, tourism was dead, but now it's picking up and I am back in the saddle, back loving what I do. And I think if people follow me, they will see that I have an awesome time on my coaches.
Yeah, definitely a liquor time. Yeah, and so when you left school, did you get straight into it? Did you study or anything like that?
Oh, no, left school and then worked for a engineering company. There, of course, I became, part of the international sales of pressure instrumentation, the scientific instrumentation abroad, across the world, Australia, the East, the Middle East, Europe, America, North and South America, so literally across the world, and made lots of friends all over the world. And then 2004 left that and then walked straight into tourism. Studied tourism also, and then got a job as a tourist guide at Hilton Ross. And ever since, it's been, the sky's the limit. Met lots of people, lots of Hollywood people. Now the person making quite a bit of, waves now. My friend was slapped, Chris Rock. Spent 2.5 weeks with him. So yeah, lots of Blair Underwood. I can name a lot of Hollywood, a lot of presidential candidates, presidential people that I toured with, and it was all good. I loved it. Also got to learn that to separate the office from the person, and once I could do that, it was a job.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously now you mentioned you met a lot of people and so on, and maybe can you tell us how you met your wife?
Oh, my wife I met in church. If you are, if you go to church, yeah, whatever you do in church, look around. There's a good wife for you. Yeah, I met my wife in church, and it is interesting that I was pretty much slow on the take, and my dad and her mom had, had something to do with like, hey, Dion's here. When I went to visit my dad, and Janine would come and visit, and the rest is history.
Okay, and so who would you say made the first move, you or her?
Me made a really dumb move, but okay, it worked.
Do you remember you called? You want to share with us?
He was one day stuck with transport. I had to get back to Mrs. Wayne. Somehow she remembered or found my number, called me. I offered, of course, I'm going to go. I went right to her place, walked in, saw her sitting on the bed, getting ready. I walked right up to her, kissed her on the lips.
Yeah.
Yeah, she also thought, who's this for Baraka? Oh, but yeah, it worked. And I was, okay, it was very shy and very worried. I couldn't be taking a chance like this because if a girl told you, that's not on, you're walking around for the rest of your life dodging that person. Yeah, but it worked.
How old were you then?
How old was that? That was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much 59 minus 25, 24.
Yeah, yeah. And then obviously, it's your one of your kids' birthday today. Can you tell us about your kids? How many kids you got, so on?
Yeah, so we got four biological kids between the two of us, and then Hannah we adopted. Hannah we adopted at a week old. Hannah is now 14, 15 years old, and we named our project after Hannah, who brings a lot of joy to a lot of people. And again, like I said, the whole idea of taking kids off the road. Today, my wife came back with a child from a hospital, close to the Alderberg area. And, there's a lot of people out there, our sisters, our brothers, our daughters, who try the drugs, took heroin, cocaine, and unfortunately, they are our family. They try that, it ends up in a disaster. The kids are removed or they can't look after the kids. We take care of those kids with a court order, and we make sure they get healthy. Today, a child that we got last week ended up in hospital, has got bacterial infection. Yeah, if only people knew, don't try that drugs. You will mess up somebody else's life. And how worse is it to mess up a baby that you've carried for 9 months?
And then, while we on speaking about Hannah's place, how did it start? Whose idea was it? Your wife's, yours? Both of your ideas, and
No, Hannah's was all Janine's idea. Janine worked in corporate for, over 20 years, traveled to the East, pretty much lived abroad in China for 20 years, half of the time. And she came home one day and said, Dion, you know what? All this money, I'm not happy. I want to do something that can add value. She came back, and of course, me, you keep your wife happy, you have a happy life. What's that saying? Happy wife, happy life. And I agree. Sometimes I wonder what I agree to, but I would not do it any different. It's an awesome, awesome, awesome project.
so what's your role? I mean, you're a tour guide. What's your role with Hannah's place?
My role, okay, for the past 2 years, I was pretty much not guiding. I was here at Hannah's place, at our home. So everything that needed to be done to support and have the smooth running of it, because we have got at any time 10 to 12 staff that is paid day and night shift. So my role is to make sure everything happens. The kids are, taken to and from court, clinics, to the doctors. I just make sure that everything is in working order, that everything that is needed gets pulled in, because we do run a private. We don't take any money or support from government for personal reasons, because we want to make sure that this project is run with the intention to bring about a good turnaround for the kid, and that the kid goes into foster care or with a family. So now that tourism is up again, early morning before I leave, I get up earlier. I do the washing every day when I'm home. And if I am away from home on tour, my daughter, puts her waiting to do that. But yeah, I still have a big role to play in the smooth running of Hannah's Place of Safety, on top of the rest of the staff who does an awesome job. And then, of course, Janine, who works tirelessly day and night to make sure that we get funding for this project.
So, so many years, how many kids would you say came through your hands?
Over 100 babies or children has come through our place. In October, it will be 6 years, sorry. And over 100 kids has come through here and gone into foster, either with extended family, but the majority of them has gone with new families. So not only has these babies found new homes, but they have made other people also happy.
Can you give a bit of detail, about the type of kids that come through, from drug families, or they were abandoned, they found on the side of the road, or in a dirt bin, or in a drain? I think there was a story of a baby that you guys said was found in a drain. I can't remember so well.
Found in a drain, found in under a tree, found, mommy put her into the river. Somebody saw, pulled her off. We had one kid that was found on the railway station in Woodstock. But the majority of kids, mommies goes into hospital, they give birth, they then say to the nurse they're going for a smoke or toilet break, they're gone. So that baby is deemed abandoned. And then, of course, through the proper channels and paperwork, we are then called in, and then we take that baby and we will care for that baby's needs from, the hospital till the time the baby goes into foster care or adoption through certain agencies.
For the you mentioned like parents, some of them, they after giving birth, they go for the smoke break and then they just don't pitch up again. And what about the parents, that actually they want to look after the child, but they do have a drug problem? What kind of tips would you give a parent like that who's watching?
Look, so here's the thing. When the child is removed from and we do have the odd incident like that where a parent shows interest, but is on drugs, don't have this, don't have that, don't have a place. The social worker then works through a program to get them into a drug rehab center, get them into a program to see if they can find them a job. So with all of that, there is, look, you don't get off from tip just like that. This is not dacha we're talking about. Tip and heroin is another drug all by itself. That chemical kind of messes up, and sadly, there is a very low percentage of rehab happening on that.
Yeah, and for new parents, maybe they're not on drugs or anything, but sometimes parents, their child has colic or some sort of sickness or something. Now, these parents also, they struggle, especially if they're new parents, but they don't have help. Maybe their parents are not there anymore to help them or guide them. What kind of tips would you be able to share with parents like that?
So for me, the easiest and legal way to go is to go to your nearest clinic. I promise you, I sit sometimes with babies at the clinic and I see mommies come in there. They have no idea how to deal. Like you said, some new mommies, and unfortunately, the young girls, 16, 17 years old, they have no idea. They have been chucked out or whatever. And I see how the sisters, the nurses, actually take them under their wings and talk with them and work with them. So there are opportunities for people or young mommies who don't know to find that necessary help. Look, for me, there must be an auntie, there must be a family. But sadly, the reason my family don't want to have anything to do with these young mommies is because of circumstances. They either were on drugs and they fed up of all of this. But I say again, even a mommy that is on drugs, there are opportunities for you to pull yourself right. Social officers, they do a good job. I know that. We are sometimes shortchanged the social workers based on one incident that happened with a social worker who didn't do something well. And of course, the clinics, they help us there.
Yeah, and of course, clearly, you're a man of many talents.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you, if you ask one of your friends or your family members, um, if they could describe you, what would they say about you?
Pretty much first a cracker, crazy. If I get into my car now with any of my daughters, it's not going to be a quiet ride to wherever we need to go. We have a jaw. We go crazy. I will find something to amuse myself. I am not a boring person. So yeah, I love this, and that's probably something I got from my dad.
Okay, so just let's talk about the tourism. How did you? Obviously we spoke about how you got into it and so forth. You don't have to be humble now. Tell us about your accomplishments. What is your accomplishments? What you're proud of?
Proud of that in tourism, I could, people often come here and they ask about the economic, disparities in South Africa. They ask about the rich and the poor, how big the gap is. And eventually we get to talking about that there are projects out there. I give you an example. One of my pet projects is Jovan Community Center out in Woodlands. These guys take, kids that come from disadvantaged backgrounds, but that project needs money. So I take people who come here who are maybe ex-teachers, who are ex-professional people. I take them there. I then get them to invest in those projects. I am not a selfish person. I make sure that people can move around to see the other side of Cape Town. I bring them to Mitchell's Plain. I take them to the local Gatsby or the local burger place that I go to. And look, they can get a steak anywhere in the world. They can get, some really fancy fish any in the way in the world. And if you look at my Facebook profiles, the pictures that I post of food where I eat with these people, it's really fancy places. But to bring people to Mitchell's Plain to see what we do, I bring people to Hannah's place to see what we do, because there is the other side of, the fancy places out in Cape Town. Mitchell's Plain needs tourism. Menenberg needs tourism, but everything is set to go a certain way. And, I'm just pretty much break that mold of not going to do the norm. When we go on, for example, I go on a tour to the winelands and we talk about pigeons. A lot of people are not even aware, foreigners at least, are not aware of pigeon racing. I take them into Bontevo. I take them into the backyard of a guy racing pigeons, and people are like blown away, you know. But the pigeon is the carrot to get there, and in the meanwhile, they talk to the people that are living there, maybe in the backyard, the backyard dwellers. Before you know it, we're doing something like a braai, on the next day or something like that. So there are different ways of doing tours. Everybody wants to go to Table Mountain, to Cape Point, to the winelands, and that's cool. It must be done. But there is also another way of doing things along the way, because we all need the economic input into our communities. So why not? Talking about achievements, I've up to 2019, 2018, 2019 was the chairman of the Cape Tourist Guide Association. I've been working, as a freelancer, doing most of my work for Hilton Ross. Very proud to say, an awesome company, and of course, brought a lot of guys in and through the company to move on to what was bigger for them also. Yeah.
And then, just as the time is ticking, could you tell me what are your 5 favorite spots to take your people?
To take my guests, okay, the winelands for me is a must, and I don't even drink wine. So the winelands, I'm very knowledgeable of the wines, very knowledgeable of the terroir, the conditions, the whole environment. I know a lot of wine makers. I know a lot of wine farm owners. So depending on what the need or the interest is of the people, I take them there. Mitchell's Plain, I bring people to Mitchell's Plain. I love going to Table Mountain because, of course, the hike. And then, of course, safari. Any safari, I have a jaw out there on safari. Sitting out there, even though I would just be as part of the support on safari, I enjoy it. I can see a lion for the 29th time. I will still, act as if it's the first time I've seen it. And tourists ask me, is this the first time you've seen a lion, Dion? No, I've seen it 101 times. But I enjoy the day I start getting bored of this whole industry is the day I should get another job. It's a passion of mine. And then, of course, I like to stop along the way, anywhere along the way. It doesn't matter if it's in Cape Town, Johannesburg. If I see something that's different, I will see, for example, out in Durban, girls carrying water on their shoulders, their heads, on a bucket. And I'll stop and I'll get them to explain to my guests, and I'll get my guests to try it. And then you find out grown people can't even lift at 25 liter. And then they understand how young kids, it's not to say well done. It's more to understand the hardships and how people grow through, making things work in their communities.
And obviously, just one more. You're active on social media. I mean, on TikTok, your videos are going. You and your son. And obviously on Facebook, you know how to vibe. On Facebook is a whole different side of you. It's you and your tourists. On TikTok is you and your son. You know how to switch between. How did social media, change the tourism landscape, and maybe you can share some tips for others who wants to use it?
Yes, the thing, Shifan. I have, and this is for people watching. I got a lady that called me 2 months ago. Says, Dion, do you know a tour guide in Johannesburg? I said, for what? To do a tour? I said, I can do it. I'm qualified for that. She contacted me because of what she saw on Facebook. Your social media must be relevant. You will not see any post of mine where I'm saying this guy is a X or a Y or a Z. I don't have time for that. put out there. You look at some people. I mean, when you interview a guy, people go look at your background. You know, they go look at your Facebook. They go look at your TikTok. They see, oh no, this guy, he's sitting in front of me looking more like an angel, but he's like an animal on weekends. So be aware of what you put out there. And I have been contacted for a lot of things other than tourism based on what I put out on social media. You know, somebody will pick up any now and then. People will say, Dion, where's a good place to go eat with 25 of my best friends? And I will give them, you know, around the peninsula or in the winelands. It's not expensive out there, people. You just need to know how to. Don't book the whole farm. Just book a table for 40 people. Pretty much, you'll end up being the only 40 people there.
Yeah, man. So we'll wrap it up over there. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for your time, and good luck with the family and Hannah's place, and obviously, keep posting and liquor videos, man. It's funny, and I can see in the comments the mates enjoy it.
Yeah, I need more Egyptians. The other thing is, we post and then we leave the comments alone. I actually go back and I answer all those comments, and that's how I get people interacting with me,
Yeah.
You can't just post something and then let 100 people comment and you just leave it out there. Yeah, you gotta go back, even if you just put a like or a heart there. So I go back and I interact with people. Before you know it, I'm in Czechoslovakia. I'm in the Czech Republic. Picking almonds for a spirit. You never know.
Cool, man. So thanks a lot for your time. We chat soon.
Thanks,
man.
Thanks for the time.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.